operations.
I call the honourable member Dennis O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. New Zealand First will support this bill to the Justice and Electoral Committee. We generally support the scheme of the bill because it gives effect to New Zealand's international human rights obligations, but we do have a number of reservations. The Minister said that the bill replaces the current mix of full-time and part-time commissioners with full-time commissioners only. But the bill does not specify whether the appointments must be full-time or part-time. So New Zealand First wants to see a specific provision in the bill for full-time commissioners. If that is what the Minister intended, then that's what the bill should say. So we'll be seeking an amendment along those lines. Concerning the roles of commissioners, instead of a particular role identification in the bill, which would mean that a commissioner has sole responsibility for a priority area and would be unavailable for other work, the bill provides that there must be a commissioner other than the Chief Commissioner appointed to lead the work of each of the priority areas, which are race relations, equal employment opportunities and the new role in the area of disability rights. The Chief Commissioner is also able to designate a Commissioner to lead the work in other priority areas of human rights after consultation with the Minister of Justice and the Commission itself. But the areas of race relations, equal employment opportunities and disability rights are still explicitly recognised as priority issues for the Commission. New Zealand First does agree with that approach. It allows for the specialisation needed in the three priority areas while allowing for the flexibility needed to ensure that the other areas are well provided for too. But New Zealand First is concerned that there is no special priority area for age-related human rights issues. And, Mr Speaker, there are many such issues. Ageism is rife in New Zealand. People are discriminated against on the basis of age right across the employment spectrum. Their plight is largely ignored in this country, except, of course, by New Zealand First. We will hold the line, for example, against any increase in the age of eligibility for New Zealand superannuation. No other party can be relied to do so, and Labour has already commenced the attack. There is also ageism in ACC benefits. People who reach 65 years have their ACC compensation confiscated from them upon application for New Zealand superannuation at age 65. That can occur even shortly after the compensation was granted. This shows that the government does not understand that New Zealand superannuation and ACC are entitlements, not social security benefits. So New Zealand First wants to see age discrimination identified as a human rights issue. We know that this government doesn't care, but we in New Zealand First do. Concerning the number of commissioners, the bill provides for a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 5 commissioners, including the Chief Commissioner. Will this be sufficient? With the extra workload resulting from the disability area and the growing workload of the Commission, it seems unlikely to me that 5 will in fact be enough. And even if it is enough now, it's unlikely to be sufficient within a relatively short period of time. Human rights issues, human rights work is a growing area in our legal system and must be properly resourced. It would be wise, I think, to legislate for a maximum of 7 commissioners so that their number can be increased if needed and when needed without the need for further legislation. We think this is justified because, as I've said, this is a rapidly increasing area in our legal system and it needs to be properly provided for. I look forward to discussion on that issue at the committee stage. As to the need for appointment of suitable people for the lead areas, I note that the Chief Commissioner has said, and I quote, As there will be fewer commissioners, those who appoint commissioners will need to ensure those in key roles reflect the diversity of New Zealand," unquote. And I agree with that. But I also note with satisfaction that under the new Section 13, and in addition to the criteria in Section 11, the Minister must have regard to the candidates' A, understanding of the principles and practice relating to the relevant priority area, B, appreciation of the issues in the area internationally, and C, an ability to carry out the functions specified in Section 16, which is itself amended to ensure skills in leadership ability and the ability to contribute to public debate, a very important part of the function of these commissioners. So I think these provisions are pretty well thought out. They will ensure that the Commission is better able to promote and participate constructively in debate, and it won't be the sort of ivory tower that we've seen it being in the past. Turning now to the functions and powers and responsibilities of the Commission, there are changes in Section 5 to these in the bill. I think they provide more certainty about the Commission's mandate to undertake its activities, and they provide for promotion of compliance with New Zealand's international human rights obligations. Concerning statements, I think this is an important new provision. The bill makes explicit in Section 5(3) that the Commission may make public statements on any matter concerning human rights, and in particular may comment on the position of the government in relation to matters that may affect or infringe on human rights. And that's not clear in the current Act. It's very important that this clearly be allowed, and I congratulate the government for putting this provision in the bill. It will be helpful to everyone interested in human rights issues in New Zealand. The bill also provides that the Commission must report on existing or proposed legislation, including subordinate legislation, administrative provisions or policy of the government that the Commission considers may affect human rights. And it must report not only to the Prime Minister but also to the Minister responsible. So I welcome that new provision as well. It will mean that the Commission will have an open and clear responsibility to inform the public, irrespective of what government policy may be. And lastly, Mr Speaker, concerning equal employment opportunities, the bill provides functions for the Commission in relation to equal employment opportunities, including the use of benchmarks to evaluate the roles that certain instruments play in promoting equal employment opportunities, and also leading the development of guidelines and voluntary codes of practice, and to work with other bodies promoting equal employment opportunities too. I think those are important provisions as well, and will provide another aspect of the work of the Commission. Mr Speaker, there is much to commend this bill, but as I've said, there are also areas where amendment is indicated. However, for the time being, New Zealand First will vote for the bill to proceed to the Select Committee.
Mr Speaker.
I call the honourable member Katrina Shanks.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's my pleasure to take a call on the Human Rights Amendment Bill.